your ATM is safe, your banks are safe, there's enough cash in the financial system, and there is an infinite amount of cash at the Federal Reserve, an infinite amount of cash at the Federal Reserve,
an infinite amount of cash at the Federal Reserve.
Don't you want somebody to love? Don't you need somebody to love? Wouldn't you love somebody to love? You better find somebody to love. Don't you want somebody to love? Don't you need?
Hello, Internet. We are back. It is so good to see you guys. It's been like 3 months. I moved. My computer blew up, but I got a new one, and that's what we're working on right now. And I don't know how well this is going to work. I'm using I moved out to the sticks, folks, and they don't even have internet out here. So I had to get this Verizon thing that works off LTE. So we're going to see how it works. I don't know if it's going to work well, but we're going to find out. If you're there, I'm so glad to see you. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. I am here with my buddy John at the RGS, the Rudimentary Guys Show, and we are hanging out tonight. John, I don't think you've ever been with me on the show, so why don't you just give a little background about yourself. Wally World, nice to see you.
Nice to see you, Wally World.
Who are you?
Yeah, man. It's good to be here with you, Michael. You know, I started my show with Kyle, and he has other things going on, so we had to discontinue our show. So it's kind of been me. I kind of went with a friend of mine, Bryce Turney, but some things happened there. So it's just been kind of me by myself, fitting in where I can get in, you know, doing God's work, I guess. You know, talking with you.
We'll see if we can make this. We'll see if we can make this a regular thing. I'm glad you're here because we chat a lot.
It's an honor. Yeah, we do, and it's an honor to be here. We actually did a show. I don't know. I know Wally World and Terry Wallace probably remember. You were on our show, and we talked about a lot of good stuff. So it was a great show. So
we talked for like 3 hours, I think.
Yeah, it was a long show. I think our show is only like an hour and a half, and then we bullshitted for another hour and a half afterwards. It was a good conversation.
Yeah, it was fun. Terry Wallace, good to see you. I know it's been forever. I'm so glad you and Wally are back and hanging out in the chat. Hopefully we get some more. I used to have regulars on this show. We'll see if they come back. Wally, Terry Northside. Nice to see you, man. No one panic. All right, I'll try not to. Yeah, we used to get some regulars on the show, and
Northside used to jump over and catch us sometimes too. So it's good to see him in here too.
Nice. Yeah. So I apologize, everybody. It's been a long time. It started with my computer blowing up, and then I decided to move because my landlord jacked up the rent $500, and that wasn't cool. So we're back, and this is sort of a test stream. I got a bunch of stuff that I want to talk about, but if you guys are watching in the chat, please let me know if my screen starts getting all blocky and pixelated, or you see like lag or anything like that. I'm really trying to test out to see how this wireless network is going to work, because I am not too confident with it. So I've been pestering Xfinity. They're laying fiber all through the mountains all over here. They just haven't gotten to like my neighborhood yet, if you can call it a neighborhood. But yeah, it's cool. I like this new area that I'm doing my show in. It's like an upstairs loft space, and it's quite,
it looks good, man. It looks a lot. It does look a lot cooler than your last studio. I got to admit, because you got cross guns. It was good, man. But this one just kind of suits. Everything's right there with you in the middle. It looks good. You can actually see everything. You don't have to adjust your camera. It looks great, man.
You can see Scarlett.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got a bunch of crap we want to talk about. You know what's funny is I was just listening to Candace Owens, and she was talking about when Massey does his yearly thing where he talks about like all the crazy shit we're funding.
Yeah.
So did you know that they were giving was it squirrels? I want to say it was squirrels, like Japanese squirrels, cocaine, just to see what would happen. So,
I don't think that's
that's the kind of shit that they're doing. And yes, it's not good. It's not a good way to spend government money. And I'm not advocating for it. But I kind of want to see the videos. I mean, what those squirrels do all hopped up on cocaine. This
Have you ever
from, like,
seen Over the Hedge? It is a cartoon movie like 10, 12 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, where the squirrel drinks like an energy drink, and that's all I can imagine. Where time just slows down, they can see the beat of butterfly wings, and just droplets of water falling off the leaves.
oh, it's the opposite effect.
Yeah,
I haven't seen that, but I have seen a drunken raccoon. Did you know that raccoons get drunk when they eat like fermented berries?
no, that's awesome. I know bears do. Bears do the same.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Like we called like the animal control people and shit because we thought he was dying. I'm like, no, he's drunk. He ate some fermented berries. He'll be fine. He was like wandering around. He was trying to run from us, but he couldn't. It was pretty funny.
That's funny.
Raccoon-
Yeah, I can only imagine falling over itself. Did
So
you
good.
speaking about Thomas Massey, did you and you've been hitting on this a lot. I don't know if this is one of your topics. Um there's your friend Casey Martin there. Awesome.
Yep. Casey Martin I've met in person. Awesome dude.
So with Thomas Massey, and you've been hitting on a lot, do you want to talk about the Real ID?
Yes, I do. That's actually, man, we're so in sync with each other. So I got some things for that. That's actually the first block that I had pulled up ready to go. So yeah, let me go over to let's share my screen here. If I could figure out how this stuff still works. Let's
Well, while you're
see.
doing that, I just want to bring out that Thomas Massey brought up a great point. On X, I saw a post because I follow him. Thomas Massey said, I don't know if you've seen it or if you have the post where he said
It's probably me pulling it up right now.
the one where about how he can't, you can still fly.
Yeah, with the passport.
There it
and
is, right
probably
there.
something
Yep.
else. I don't have a passport either, though.
No, it's just a control. They say it's for voter security, and it's just another control method.
Yeah. So here, I got a clip from Ron Paul that I want to play from the Liberty Report. But here's another one from Massey. So he says, Real ID isn't a database. It's proof that your physical person matches an entity in the digital database. Its power and purpose will be realized when everyone complies, but not before. This is responsive to I didn't give them much information and I had one for years. Why worry? So that's like what a lot of people are saying, just saying like I've had this for years. All I had to do was go to the DMV and show my birth certificate. It's no big deal, this and that. And look, I'm too dumb to act like I know exactly what the Real ID is. But from Grok, just here, let me share this from Grok. So I just asked Grok, what are the constitutional concerns and privacy concerns around Real ID? And it says constitutional concerns are federal overreach. Critics argue that it violates the 10th Amendment by imposing federal standards on state-issued IDs. And that's what the redheaded libertarian was talking about the other day. An area traditionally under state control, the act effectively coerces states through funding threats, undermining federalism. Unfunded mandate, the requirement for states to comply without significant federal funding raises concerns about violating the spending clause as it burdens states financially. Lack of clear authority, the act's basis in Congress's commerce power is questioned, and as driver's licenses are not inherently interstate commerce, potentially exceeding enumerated powers. And then the privacy concern is centralized database risk. Real ID, even though that's the opposite of what Massey just said, Real ID requires states to share driver data, creating a de facto national database. This creates risks of hacking, unauthorized access, and government misuse. And everybody's saying, look, they already have all this information on you anyway, so, what's the big deal? It's like, well, yeah, I'm not cool with them having that information either. So it's like, it's just a do it and comply because it's not a big deal type thing. And I've avoided getting it for like 10 years now. Like definitely the last time I renewed my driver's license, but I think even the time before that. Do you have it?
I do, and I wish I didn't. It was a weird thing when I did get it. I got mine.
Bent the knee.
Well, no. Virginia had a weird law because I live in Virginia. Had a weird law in our state where we couldn't fly, and I worked about 8 or 9 years ago. I had to fly everywhere where I went. And so I couldn't board a plane without a real ID. They wouldn't allow me without a passport or a real ID. And I didn't have a passport at the time. And for my job, I had to travel.
So
So
I'm gonna be screwed. I have to travel a lot for my job.
yeah,
Like a
they
lot.
they make it mandatory, and I think I see kind of the lack the violation of the 10th Amendment because traffic laws. I lived in California as well at one point. So if I made a traffic violation in California and say moved back to Virginia, I'm not saying I did, but say something in California, now with that real ID because it's federally based, they can come after me and my license here in Virginia and for something that might have happened in California where the laws can be completely different. Our traffic codes and our traffic laws can be completely different. But California can say, like, I know for a fact, out in California, for trucks, you have to have them covered or they're commercial vehicles. In Virginia, that's not a law. I can have an open bed and it's not considered a commercial vehicle. But say I
Oh, I
don't
didn't.
cover, what's that?
No, that's weird. I don't think that's the law in California. It's just a truck is just a regular vehicle.
When I lived there, they said you had to have a cover on it or it was a commercial vehicle. They could consider it a commercial vehicle. It
What
was
the
it was
fuck?
weird. Yeah, it was wherever down the armpit,
That's
Ridgecrest.
hella stupid.
Yeah, out in the desert. But what they're saying essentially is California can come after you for their state violations for something that might be different than what's in Virginia. Like our traffic codes are different, but we can come
Mhm.
after the federal government can come after you financially and use your driver's license inherently against you. I guess is what they're saying.
Well, it's people are worrying about being able to attach other things to it, like it's a digital ID. Like your
That too,
vaccine
yeah.
status and
They
whatever
have
your
that now. Yeah, I mean that is actually a very good concern because like you said, they have your birth certificate, they have your address, they have everything about you tied to this real ID. They can pull up anything about you and then like you said with if you don't comply or bend the knee like you said, then they can start turning off your driving privileges and then that affects your ability to make commerce.
Well, they'll say they were not going to do that, but I mean, I have to bring my birth certificate when I go purchase ammo. So, I mean, I don't even know if you know this in California, they do background checks when you buy ammo too. So I have to bring my
Insane.
since I don't have a real ID, I have to bring my freaking birth certificate. Same thing if I purchase firearms.
That's insane. That's insane to me. That's
Well,
direct
the
violation of the Second Amendment.
10-year waiting or 10-day waiting period. They call it a cool off period. Only 10-round magazines. I have a stupid
Yeah.
fin on my AR. I should have put my AR back there so you guys can see the stupid gay fin that it has.
Oh, I've seen it. Yeah, you showed it to me last time. It was
so
weird.
bad. It's
Well, the real ID is it. I'm not a big fan of them again because it's so much personal information. And like you said, coming with this CBDCs and stuff like that, they could probably tie all that stuff to that as well. And it just gives that big government feel where the federal government is overstepping its reach again, like they said, violating the 10th Amendment, which is the states' rights amendment. So it's just something that I'm not a big fan of.
yeah. To me, them saying they're doing it for voting is a what's the word? That's not why they're doing this. I mean, how is that even going to change anything? So, like here in California, illegal immigrants can get driver's licenses, and I don't know how they differentiate, illegal immigrant driver's licenses from your regular California real ID or non-real ID driver's licenses. I don't know how they do that. So
It's a star. They have a star. They put a little star on it that makes a
the
real
Star of
ID.
David. Too soon.
I'm I'm gonna tiptoe past that one. It's a star. It's not the Star of David, but it is a star. It's
Okay, just
a
checking.
star.
I mean, it's fine if it is. I don't
No,
have anything against it.
no.
You know.
Let me see if I got mine. I got my wallet. Let me see, without disclosing any information.
Why a star? Why a star? Not why
I
not?
don't know.
Why not
Here, let me.
why not the California flag? I guess
Can you
that's
see
what
the
it's on.
star?
I can see the star.
That's what it is. That's a real ID.
You're a star, John. They wanted to make everybody feel better, so it's like you got a star next to your name. Good job getting the real ID. Good job complying. You get a star next to your name.
Essentially, it's a gold star for following what the government wants you to do. But it's
So
2005 era bullshit. It's 2005. It was written by George Bush's Patriot Act. It's the same person who wrote the Patriot Act is the same person who wrote the Real ID law. So
well, that's why they did it. It's freaking lame.
It's overreach of the Patriot Act. They just want your information so they can essentially do whatever they want to, which I'm not a fan of. I'm not a fan of big government. I think state government should overrule what federal government does. But in the case of you, I feel bad because your state government is out of control. So
yeah, they're monsters. All right, let me play this clip from Ron Paul's The Liberty Report because they were talking about it over there. So I want to let's see what the good old Ron Paul has to say about our civil liberties.
Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem is turning into a real disappointment because this is one of a number of things that she's done that really kind of back up what you warned back when they created the department. It's going to be limiting our liberties, not anyone else's. We'll put on this first clip. This is from Newsmax, and they recognize. So Kristi Noem came out on Friday afternoon, and she said, "I got news for everyone. We are going to start enforcing Real ID, I think, as of May 1st." So Newsmax came out today. Real ID announcement receives wave of pushback on X, and which is good. And you go to the next one. Here's what Noem did Friday evening. Now that's when they always do something they don't want to have any, people noticing it. She announced a digital ID known as Real ID, which requires a high-resolution digital facial image, would be required by May 7th to fly. Starting May 7, you will need a Real ID to travel by air or to visit federal buildings in the U.S., she said in a video on X. These IDs keep our country safe because they help prevent fraud and they enhance security. And as soon as she said that, a backlash ensued on X, including Dr. Paul by our great friend Thomas Massey. Go to the next one. Massey hit it right on the head. He called BS on Kristi Noem. He said, Real ID isn't needed, and it won't stop terrorists. Most of the 9/11 hijackers held Saudi, UAE, Egyptian, or Lebanese passports. Real ID is a national standard and database of IDs that is primarily a tool for control of Americans. Trump shouldn't enforce it, he said. 2005, President George W. Bush, now here's the kicker, you remember this, Dr. Paul, signed the Real ID Act into law. It was authored by Representative James Sensenbrenner, the same author of the Patriot Act. You remember those times. Sensenbrenner was going nuts writing all these bills.
Yes, and they portrayed him as a great civil libertarian and working for our privacy. That's the most insulting thing is what Noem said. It was issued to make us safe.
Yeah.
They always turn it and twist it around. It's sort of like, we need the Federal Reserve so nobody ever comes with its money.
Yeah.
We want the monopoly.
Exactly.
This is what this is, monopoly over control. I'm not very happy with the direction we're going right now. It looks like we're going to lose a lot more privacy if this bill gets reopened and made much worse. And it looks like it can do a lot more damage yet to come.
Yeah, it's been sitting around. It passed in 05. It's just been sitting around. No one's done anything to it. No one has really enforced it. Now, all of a sudden, Kristi Noem wakes up and says, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and enforce this, And so let's go to a little bit more from the Newsmax article. Now, the criticism is not coming from the left, it doesn't seem primarily. Thankfully, it's a lot on the right. Thankfully, someone is carrying the banner that you carried 20 years ago, and that someone is Thomas Massey. Now, he came out with a bunch of posts on X when Kristi Noem made her dumb announcement. And I just picked out a couple of the better ones. Now, this is, people will find this radical, but think about it. He says, as long as the pilot's door is locked and no one has weapons, why do you care that someone who flies has government permission? Real ID provides no benefit, yet presents a serious risk to freedom. If a person can't be trusted to fly without weapons, Why are they roaming free? Very good point. And here's another one where he explains it to people who don't get it. They don't understand what Real ID is. He says, Real ID isn't a database. It's proof that your physical person matches an entry in the digital database. Its power and purpose will be realized when everyone complies, but not before. This is responsive to the I didn't give them much information, I've had one for years, why worry argument he makes. So it's not essentially a database in itself. It is the relationship between that card that you hold and the database that exists already. And they can add to it. Remember we talked about they can add anything they want. Vax records, gun records, civil liberties, First Amendment records, anything can be added to it.
I think that's what we were talking about with them adding things to it, like a CBDC or, you know, adding things to restrict your liberties if you don't comply. Like, say you talking out about Gavin Newsom and they find that to be irritating, they can, I guess,
Yeah, the whole social credit score idea, the whole
Yes.
social credit score thing. But, you know, I'm not going to act like I know how this would play out. So, but that whole time the video was playing, I was trying to figure out, did you have an echo when I was playing that?
I did, yeah. I think it was
You
the video.
did,
itself.
huh?
Yeah, I think
No,
it was the video.
it wasn't. I'm going to play like 10 seconds of it again.
Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem is turning into a real
It was gone there, huh?
Yeah. It was there and
Yeah.
then it left. So I don't know if it was you. I think it might have been the video.
No, it was me because I had the audio coming out of my monitor instead of out of my headphones the whole time, and I couldn't. That whole time, it took me 4.5 minutes to figure out how to go into my settings and change it to my headphones. This is the kind
It's like riding a bike, man. It's all good. You'll get it there. I think
man.
everybody
Well,
else is still here.
everything's my MacBook's brand new, and dude, in 3 months, a few things on StreamYard have changed. So, yeah. Well, all right. I think that's enough about. I mean, you got anything else you want to add about the whole freaking Real ID?
No.
crap?
It's just I think it's scary. It's scary that this is it's Patriot Act 2.0 and they're pushing it upon us. And what's scary is these. I just want to bring up that, and I'm sorry I'm being incoherent, but I promise this will all come together. I used to be a big Trump supporter. I voted for Trump 3 different times, and I was hardcore MAGA, and I was like, littler government, more state government, little federal government. And now what's scary is that now that Trump is back in office, these MAGA people are marching in lockstep to whatever Trump and his cabinet say, and they're literally forcing Patriot Act 2.0 upon us. And people forget, you and I are old enough. We're both in our 40s.
Well, in regard, not with the Real ID, right? The Real ID was part of the Patriot Act shit. And I mean, Patriot Act was, freaking digital surveillance on everybody, being able to.
This is what that is.
The biggest thing. Well, the biggest thing is being able to calling somebody a terrorist and being able to throw them in Guantanamo Bay. Like that was the biggest part of the Patriot Act was no trial, no due process. You're a terrorist, so we're throwing you in jail. And there's a lot of people that weren't terrorists or weren't radicals in any way, and then all of a sudden they get thrown in prison for no reason, and now they're radicals.
Well, I get that, but what I'm saying with this Real ID is they're going to be able to tie whatever they deem a nuisance to your ID and stop things like Ron Paul was saying and like Thomas Massey was saying. They can say, oh, well, sorry, we don't like the speech you're saying, so guess you don't have driving privileges anymore. So how are you going to get to work? How are you going to travel? It restricts freedom of movement as well. Not with terrorists, but our restriction of freedom of movement. Like you said, you have to travel. So how are you going to travel without getting one? And God forbid they go, okay, now we have all your information. Now we don't like what you're saying. How are you going to travel anymore? It restricts your freedom of movement. It all goes back to the 15-minute cities.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of people are saying, well, you know, just you could use your passport instead. And it's like, but the whole point is we didn't used to. We didn't have to show a passport or a real ID for domestic travel before. And all of a sudden you're creating this new rule and nobody can really understand why, how is it going to keep anybody safer, me having a real ID when I travel or having to show my passport? How is that going to keep anyone safer? I mean, I'll be straight up. The main reason I don't want to get the real ID is because they're telling me I have to get the real ID. It's like, fuck you, no. I don't. And there's like, what is this new law, this new real ID? What purpose is it supposed to serve? How is it supposed to benefit the people? To me, all it's going to do is benefit the government and surveillance apparatuses, you know?
It does. Also, what I don't think you understand, does your driver's license, and because I'm assuming you have just a regular driver's license, does your driver's license have a barcode on it?
Yes, they freaking scan it when I buy Zyn, and I gotta confess, I relapsed. Don't judge me. It was last week too.
The energy drinks, huh?
I'm disappointed in myself. Just Red Bull.
It's all good. It's all good.
It's not.
You run enough though.
It's sad. Anyway, so yeah, the barcode. What about the barcode?
So the barcode, they scan the barcode and it has more of your information on it than just what you have on your driver's license. That's the thing.
Like what?
Well, it has they have access to my birth certificate because I had to give them my physical copy of my birth certificate and they had to scan it at the DMV when I got my real ID.
Let's ask Grok. I love Grok, dude. What does the California... Yeah, what is the barcode on the California driver's license? What information? Does the barcode on the California driver's license hold? Let's see what Grok says. The barcode on the back of California driver's license is a PDF 4172D barcode that contains the same information displayed on the front of the license. I called you a liar, bro. This includes full name, date of birth, gender. Oh, gender. Why does it have my pronouns? Height, eye color, address, driver's license number, issue date, expiration date, document description, blah, blah, blah. The barcode may also include additional data for internal use by the California DMV, such as inventory. Okay, such as the inventory control or the security features, but this is not publicly disclosed. The information is encoded to allow quick verification by law enforcement or businesses, ensuring the data matches the front of the license. Notably, the barcode does not contain sensitive information like social security numbers yet.
Keyword yet, because that's what I had to give is my social security number and my birth certificate to get my real ID. I'd have both.
Pete Grabber, good to see you, man. Casey Martin says illegals will not be able to get a real ID. Get real IDs in California. Driver's license is different than a real ID. So I guess they're not going to get the star. They're not going to get the star next to their name.
No,
they're not special.
They're not gold star people, I guess.
Yeah,
don't get
apparently not.
Good job, star.
All right. Well, okay. I want to get into a bunch of California stuff because there's a bunch of shenanigans. Dude,
I love California, so let's do it.
It's been 3 months, man, since I've done a live stream, and there's so much shit that's happened, but this is still just going to be current stuff. So, first things first. This went kind of well, not bananas, but this got some good attention on X. So California just all of a sudden, all the time, in tons of different regards, just adds fees onto shit that every Californian has to pay. And they do it all the time, like with this most recent gas tax, where it's going to be like, yeah, an additional 48 cents per gallon, just right off the bat. We pay like an extra $1.50 per gallon just in California gas taxes and cap and trade bullshit. That, I mean, oh, I should have pulled up the slide that shows like the crude oil per barrel price has tanked and everybody's gas throughout the rest of the country is coming down, except for California. California gas prices are still going up and up and up. And I should have brought up the video too. Gavin Newsom went on with Sean Hannity. Sean Hannity. I really almost said that. He went on with Sean Hannity and he was just gaslighting everybody, saying that it's only like $1.10. It's not actually that. Oh no, he said it was only like 88 cents. That's what he was trying to say. And it's all the big oil companies just gouging California. And it's such bullshit. Everybody knows it's bullshit. But in addition to that, they just voted some board that has like 4 board members just voted that it's okay for PG&E to add $25 a month, $24 a month to everybody's bill. Like, bro, some of us are over here grinding just to get by, just to be able to pay our rent, gas. You know, I drive a freaking 79 Chrysler, bro. Shit ain't good on gas. And I got to drive like San Francisco and shit. And so gas, electricity, rent. And when those things are expensive, when those 3 things are expensive, it makes everything else more expensive. Everything. You need to transport everything by vehicle. So, food costs more to transport. Food's going to get more expensive. If rent goes up, I mean, the grocery stores have to pay rent. They're going to, that's going to get tacked onto the price of groceries. If their electricity bills go up to keep, freezer food cool, refrigerated food cool, that's going to get tacked on to the price of our goods. It's all this stuff, and they just do it, and we have no say in it. So here, I'll play this quick video. So sorry, I get worked up, bro.
Here's a good point. There's a reason for it.
All right, let's play this quick video.
Vote is 4-0. The item passes.
With that vote, the California Public Utilities Commission, or CPUC, approved a plan allowing major utility companies in the state, including PG&E, SoCal Edison, and San Diego Gas and Electric, to impose a fixed charge on most of their customers' monthly utility bills. Specifically, the plan includes a new flat fee of $24.15 per month, coming out to about $290 per year.
Vote is 4.
And one of Gavin Newsom's biggest donors is PG&E. It's this giant cartel. Yeah, it's a total monopoly. It's not like we have another option. We can't go with some other provider. And if we do, they're still using PG&E's line, so they got to like lease it from them. We're still end up paying them in the end anyway.
But I thought solar power was going to replace everything out there.
So, I mean, if any of you guys have solar, chime into the chat. But from my understanding, they've created laws to where, like, if you created more energy than you use, you actually sell that back to the utilities companies and it goes back into the grid.
That's
and then
the
they give you money.
Yeah, that's the theory.
Well, I don't think that happens anymore. They've made a bunch of laws around this too. It's similar with, they want everybody to go over to electric vehicles, and then it's like, oh shit, we're losing all this tax revenue because people are going to electric vehicles. So what are they talking about doing now? They're already doing a pilot program charging. Did you hear about this? They're charging people per mile that you drive. They want to be able to monitor how many miles you drive and tax you accordingly. You heard about this?
That's insanity.
Yeah, so it's absolute insanity. And I guess they're already piloting the program. So, I don't know if do you have Fast Track out there or something
we do
similar?
Have Fast Track. Yeah, same thing.
So I would imagine what they'll do is they'll mandate that everybody that has a vehicle has to have this Fast Track device or whatever device that it is, and it monitors how many miles you go. And I mean, it's just another surveillance.
What are they gonna? How do they make the tax though? Like, what is it? 3 cents a mile, 10 cents a mile, $1 a mile. So what about people like? I mean, I know a lot of people like you, and a lot of people talk about being in California, having to, with your last job, you'd have to, transit a long ways to go to your last job from where you lived and everything to just get to where you needed to go. And how would they do that? I mean, I don't understand. I can't fathom. I know someone out there will figure out a way to do it, but I can't fathom how they would do that.
I don't know if they'll give you a monthly bill or they'll tack it on to your yearly car registration, maybe, which means you'll just get hit with a fat ass bill at the end of the year when you go to register your car. I don't know. I don't know how they'll do it. I don't know what I talked about it on this show before, and I had how much per mile that they're talking about doing, but I mean, yeah, it's insane. So, I mean, to put it in perspective, I get paid if I drive over 50 miles from my house, I get paid what is it? I think it's 68 cents per mile after that. So if I travel 70 miles, I get paid 68 cents for 20 miles. And then if that's there and back, that's 38 miles or whatever, 40 miles. And what's funny is I didn't learn about this until last week at my job. And I was like, wait a minute. So you mean I could have been, oh, my dog's snoring super loud. And I just did it for that week because I was driving to San Francisco all last week. So I just did the math and I was like, holy crap. That's it ended up being like $38 a day.
Yeah. They're paying you for mileage. And that's what they're going to do. Or like you said, tack it onto your registration or I don't know if you guys have, I know in Virginia, we have outrageous personal property taxes. They'll tack it onto like a personal property tax or something, or a transient fee or whatever the hell they want to call it.
I was going to make a joke about the homeless with a transient fee right now, but I decided not to.
He went the high.
Charge San Francisco transient fees. No, that wasn't good. That didn't land.
Better joke.
All right,
I'm going to Star of David on my real ID.
That's what it is. I'm telling you. All right. So let's see. This is from Emily Hoven. She says 2 years after California's Democratic leaders declared victory over big oil with a law aiming to crack down on industry profits, the state has been unable to prove companies engage in price gouging when the cost of gasoline spikes in California. So there's this article here. I'll read it. It's all of like this isn't like some I think this is from the Sacramento Bee, but I mean KTLA was reporting on this. All of like KTLA is a mouthpiece for the California Democratic Party. They're always writing puff pieces. I actually have one of their articles up right now where a dude tried to chase some people robbing the store, like a grocery store or a liquor store or something. He chased them out and they freaking beat the hell out of him and then ran over him with their car and killed him. And then what is the headline that KTLA writes? They write, "Man dies when trying to intervene in robbery."
Oh, like was this the one where you said, was this the one where you said, did he die of unnatural or whatever unknown causes?
Yeah, some mystery sickness. Yeah, no.
Yeah, and then they shut their comments off.
Car. Yeah, because they got ratioed to oblivion. Yeah, that's right. It wasn't because of me. Everybody was roasting him in the comments. It wasn't just me.
Yeah.
There was a
well,
bunch
I think
of people,
you had the hand in that. That was pretty good.
Well, actually, so while we're on that topic, did you see what happened to them the very next day?
No, I didn't.
It's so good. Oh man, I don't even know if I can share this. So here, let me scroll down before I share it. I can't. All right, I'm not even gonna. Here, I'm gonna stop sharing. So this is the KTLA put out a tweet that says KTLA experienced the text. This was on, I think this was last Thursday, and they said, and it was the day after they wrote that article. Man dies intervening in robbery, even though they beat him to death and ran him over with the car. But they write KTLA experienced a technical error while adding language filters to our social media accounts, resulting in an offensive word being accidentally shared. We are appalled and apologize that this occurred. And I want to show it so bad, but I can't because I'll probably get this episode taken down. But the first comment was a screenshot of what they posted on their Twitter. It was one word.
Was it an F word?
It starts with an N and it ends with an R, but the plural version. They just boom, hard R, hard R, and everything. Yeah,
never.
And, like that's all they posted.
Never's the word. Never.
Yes, it was.
Yes.
No, it was naggers. Like someone that
Ah,
nags
yeah.
you.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Yes. Yeah. So KTLA had a
Wow.
rough couple of days because they're so awful. I mean, of all the bullshit you can come up with, we were adding language filters to our social media accounts, and that's how we accidentally dropped the hard R. Like,
Yeah.
what?
Oops.
Just own it and say, yeah, one of our interns thought he was funny. He's fired now. So that
It's
happened.
yeah.
That's what happened.
That's too funny.
Anyway, yeah, it's horrible. All right, let me just go over this quick article from the Sacramento Bee. Well, I don't want to read this whole article because we got a bunch of shit to get into, but basically a bunch of freaking studies were done to show that the oil companies were gouging California, and that's why our gas is so much. But all these different people. Here, I'll just read like the first paragraph. 2 years after the Democratic leaders declared victory over big oil with a law aiming to crack down on industry profits, the state has been unable to prove companies engage in price gouging when the cost of gasoline spikes in California. Since late 2022, Gavin Newsom has accused the oil industry of ripping off California drivers, pointing to an extreme price hike in the state compared to the rest of the country, while companies reported record profits. Open your books, there's a quote, open your books and prove you're not price gouging. Otherwise, you, big oil, will pay the price, not consumers. Then that was Senator Nancy Skinner. That's Nancy Skinner, the same person that made it so non-citizens can become cops in California. That Nancy Skinner, she's the author of that bill. Said
That's
after Newsom signed the bill, oh, she's the worst. Well, actually, no, because we still have Scott Wiener.
Yeah, you still have
Nancy
Scott. I was
Skinner's
going to say you still have Scott Wiener, and then you have that other trans. What's the one? You did. You had the trans out of San Francisco that was like about something about little kids. He was like, "Oh yeah, it's fine."
In the California government?
I believe so. I got to look it up. I'll look it up.
This was probably Scott Wiener. This sounds like a Scott Wiener thing, but no, dude.
I think it was Scott Wiener. I think you're right. It was Scott Wiener. I'm sorry, it was Scott Wiener.
Scott Wiener's the freaking creepiest dude on earth.
Yes.
So Nancy Skinner signed the bill. She authorized to create an industry watchdog division and gave the California Energy Commission authority to cap oil company profits and return funds to taxpayers. But the state hasn't leveled any penalties on oil refining companies since the law passed, and has even stopped posting the data it required. Still, state leaders call the law a success and say it has flattened price spikes, lowered the average cost of gas since it took effect. They also allowed the transparency for tools for helping shape additional regulations for the market. So it didn't do shit. And they don't have any data to show that the oil companies are gouging us, but they're bragging about it, saying, no, your gas prices aren't really that high. Like, don't believe, what the gas pump shows you. Don't believe that.
Don't believe your lying eyes.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
What is it? The parties. There's an Orwell quote around that. Where's the data from the California Energy Commission? Skinner's bill SBX 1-2, along with previous 2022 law, requires refineries to submit monthly reports about their sales, profit margins, and other information. Within 45 days, the CEC is required to publish the information, which breaks down the average pre-barrel profit earned each month by 3 different refineries, which are kept anonymous to protect company information. But the CEC has not updated figures showing net margins or total profit earned or lost when a refinery includes operational costs. Since April 2024, it has posted figures showing refineries' average gross margins, which are the wholesale price of the gasoline minus the price of the crude oil. Note the CEC webpage indicate that data provided to refining companies isn't trustworthy. CEC has not assessed whether refineries have properly deducted various costs from their self-reported margins, one note reads. It goes on to say that data reported by the multiple refineries has demonstrated extreme variability that is likely not accurate nor reliable. Oh, it's so funny how they say we get this data from the oil refineries. We don't trust that the data is accurate, because we want to be able to say that it's actually them that are raising the cost on Californians for gas. At the same time, these people will say, trust the data, trust the science from all these studies that the pharmaceutical companies did on their own drugs and their own vaccines, and just trust them because they did it right. We're gonna it's all freaking horseshit. Like they'll say trust the company's research as long as it suits their goals. That's exactly what they're doing here.
It's hypocritical. It's 100% hypocritical. It's like you said, just to kind of go off of what you said, you're exactly right. Trust the science. Trust what we have your best interest. Trust the social distancing. But the gas company, they're evil. They're bad. So trust California. Trust us.
Right.
We know best for you. It's absolutely asinine.
Trust the science as long as that science helps push our narrative. That's all they care about.
Yep.
She also noted that the agency still has authority to impose potential maximum gross gasoline refining margin and penalty for refiners that exceed it, along with other regulations. Catherine Rehes Boyd, president of the Western States Petroleum Association, alleged there's a different reason the public report stopped. It's not supporting the narrative. There it is. So the lady, the president of the Western States Petroleum Association, is just like, no, they just stopped showing you the data because it's not supporting their narrative that they want to say, which is that we're gouging you. So she said, we did a bunch of data reporting because of this assertion that the oil companies were gouging the public. And so, my God, we've got to collect the data to prove it, she said. Well, the reason that they don't publish the data anymore is because it doesn't prove it. Several months of available data shows that 2 refineries have 5 consecutive months of negative margins, with losses ranging from between 9 and 44 cents per gallon between October 2023 and February 2024. Rehes Boyd said the state bears blame for high gas prices, noting that the local taxes, along with costs for environmental programs, add up to roughly $1.30 per gallon. If we're going to talk about the price at the pump, let's talk about what goes into it, because the $1.30 of it ain't us, she said. And it's not only that, gas prices themselves, the refineries are going to charge us more, not because they're gouging us, because we have all these crazy environmental regulations here, the summer blend and the winter blend and all that shit. And they're shutting down refineries. They're making it impossible for them to operate here. And we're not pumping freaking oil out of the ground. Like,
that's exactly
California,
right. Yeah.
California sits on a ton of freaking oil. And to freaking top it off, Chevron's headquarters has been in San Ramon, California, which is pretty close to me, since I was a kid. Like, they've been there forever. Well, where do you think they're moving to?
Alaska?
Texas. Alaska.
Texas. Either Texas or Alaska. They're moving. But that's a point you make, and that's what's the saddest thing is back in the 80s when they allowed California. Of course, back in the 80s when California was the golden gem of the West Coast and the model for what middle America wanted to be, and had a strong central middle class. Gas was cheap. Gas was extremely cheap, and until all the smog started coming in, and they started doing all these regulations, and then hitting the oil companies with all these fines after fines after fines after fines, and the oil companies are just tired of it. You guys are literally natural resource rich, but every natural resource, the people who refine it just want to get the hell out of California because of the EPA guidelines, because they add to the EPA guidelines, because they have their own guidelines, and then they have to jump through hoops for this, that, and this and that, and they make it so hard to turn a profit, to give relief at the pumps to you guys out there. And it's disgusting to see this happen. And I've said it before, this is what they want. If you look at California, who, like I said, was the golden gem of the West Coast, and had that strong middle class, they have destroyed California, and that is their goal for the rest of the country. They want to make it impossible for us to drive. They want to make it impossible for us to be able to transport ourselves across the country and have a free flow of ideas. They want to just control you. That it all goes into the 15-minute city. If you just continuously keep people in one place because they can't drive, because they can't afford gas, then how are people supposed to communicate their ideas with others?
Yeah, and so back to that, back to my post about the $25 a month for electricity that they just, came out of nowhere. What I wrote was California energy prices are already through the roof, and they just added an additional $25 a month for every Californian, just like that. All they do is extract more money from us, and there's nothing we can do about it. And dude, all of the comments are, you vote differently. Elections have consequences. You can move. Like, those are all, dude, I'm so sick of hearing all this shit. Like, it's so funny how people are telling me to stop voting Democrat too. And I've never voted for a Democrat in my life. They just assume, because I'm a Californian. And then they say like elections have consequences, all that shit. Bro, we got universal mail-in ballots.
Yeah.
It's illegal to have people show ID when they vote. You got ballot harvesting. There's a month for them to count votes. The whole thing, like, just one of those ways makes it so they can rig the elections. Just mail-in ballots, super easy way to commit fraud. No voter ID, super easy way to commit fraud. Ballot harvesting, obviously another way to commit fraud. Each one of those individually is a way to rig the elections. Every single possible way that they can rig the elections, they have done. You can't prove that any one of these individual things did in fact rig the elections, even though I think you can. But they haven't been sued successfully, so I guess they haven't. But why have these things in place? There's no logical reason for it. There's no logical reason for not having people show ID to prove who they are when they vote. I mean, what they say about it. It's the arguments are ridiculous too. And they try to do it. They try to be vague about it. They try to just say it will disenfranchise tens of thousands of people from voting, millions of people from voting. And it's like, well, how is it going to disenfranchise them? How will it? Explain it. Explain how it disenfranchises people, California Democrats, because they get super racist. They just, it's harder for black and brown people to get IDs.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Say that again.
So I got a question for you. I know. So I got a question for you though. Now that we're talking about it, how do you fix
racist?
It? No,
I don't know.
Not at all.
I don't know.
How do you fix it? Because obviously voting isn't going to fix it. Voting's not going to fix it. So how do you get yourself out of this? I mean, if you can't vote your way out of it because they rigged the election so bad, how do you go about and fix this broken system that they've broken to the point that it's failing miserably?
Well, I think they'll reach a tipping point. Even if you can only rig the election so much, right? You can't just be like, hey, look, 100% of people voted for Gavin Newsom. That's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. He won in a landslide. Like, everybody's gonna be like, okay, freaking Soviet Union. Like, that we know that didn't happen. So you can only rig the election so much, right? Like, say let's say they can rig it by 15%, because that's a lot. 15% swing. I mean, usually elections are determined by 1 or 2 points.
Maybe 5 or 6 at the most. Yeah.
Right, and that's a landslide. If somebody wins,
yeah.
And we're not talking about the presidential election where it's electoral college. We're talking about just percentage votes, because you 51% to 49%, you won. That's how it is for state senate, assembly, mayors, city council, all of it. That's local government. It's just, if you win by 1%, then you won. So I think we're going to reach it. So I think they can overcome up to like 15%, where they can cheat that much. Even if a candidate or a proposition, gets 60% vote, I believe they can overcome that 10% swing. I personally believe that. But it'll reach a tipping point to where it's like, it's such a big landslide where 75% of people voted for it or whatever, and it's just too big for them to overcome. And like, you still have to physically do it. You still have to physically rig something, meaning you have to come up with the extra ballots. You have to throw some people's vote in the trash, and you need time to do that. So if we can somehow, there is an effort going on right now to require voter ID in California. But the funny thing is, it's going to go on the ballot. There's going to be a measure on the ballot to require ID to vote. But to vote on that measure, you won't be required to show ID. So it's just, that whole thing's super ironic to me. But if you could also make it so, if we could somehow make it like, no, you guys, you can't count the ballots up to 30 days after the goddamn election. Like, how insane is this? You know, there's other countries with like a similar population that count things in 24 hours. And
Yeah.
And they say, well, you know, it's because we have universal mail-in ballots now. It's like, okay, well, looks like that's gone. Because the universal mail-in ballots are like, oh, well, you know, we need they need to verify the signatures on it. That's what they have to do. And what is that? So just that process right there, what does that give them the opportunity to do? You got a signature. Oh, I happen to see who this person voted for. That signature doesn't look right. That one goes in the trash. I see who this one voted for. That signature looks right. We're going to accept this one. But it gives them, it's like a whole extra process that they have to manually go through. California elections are a fucking joke, but that's the thing that everybody says is vote differently. You know, it's your fault. California gets what they deserve. And even if they're right, I mean, 38% of Californians still voted for Trump. That's millions and millions of people. It's like the second most Trump votes in any state. Texas barely beat us. And in 2020, we had the most Trump votes in California.
Yeah, they definitely did. And you just brought up another pragmatic issue is that
you're frozen.
Oh, am I?
You're frozen.
Oh, you're not. You're good.
Yeah. You're doing the digital beep boop bop thing too.
Oh no, we're good.
Uh-oh. Hope it's not. Oh, there you go.
Yeah. No, what I said is that brings up, can you hear me better now? Am I better?
It's still a little choppy, but yours
is great. But what I was saying is it it brings up another
good on their end.
Yeah, it brings up another pragmatic issue is that all the transplants that went to Texas and all these other states, these Democrats from California are running these other states' elections now and cheating just like you have in your state, and they're doing that to places like Texas and wherever else they're sending their surrogates to set up these places to do the exact same thing. And it's just a power move. It's a power play.
Yeah, and all of the states that don't require voter ID all swing heavily Democrat. So
yeah. Well, I mean, look at Texas and look at Arizona, look at Washington. I mean, look at Oregon. They don't require voter ID. And the issue is that it's all coming from California. I think that most Californians are staunchly conservative. California was a conservative state until what? The mid 2000s?
No. No, we haven't had a Republican governor, and I do not count freaking Arnold as a Republican governor. He technically was, but
yeah,
I mean, everything he did was super. No, we haven't had a Republican governor since the 90s, I believe.
Was it the 90s?
Yeah. Well, let's see. Let's ask Grok again. I should know this, being a freaking Californian, but let's ask Grok again. When was the last Republican governor of California? Let's see.
They're going to say Arnold.
Was it Gray Davis?
Was it Gray Davis?
Oh, yeah, that is what they're going to say. Oh, man, something went wrong. I think my network connection's really bad, dude.
No, you're good on my end.
We'll see.
I mean, you're really good on my end.
I'm scared.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, it said exactly what you said it was going to say.
Yeah. I mean,
Arnold does not count. And
no.
And Arnold won after a
Graves.
freaking recall.
Yeah, they recalled Governor
Huh?
Graves.
Graves? You mean Gray Davis?
I thought it was well,
I don't remember which governor they called. I don't know. You might know better than I do. See, I didn't start getting really into politics until like the last, I don't know, 10 years or so. Before Arnold, last Republican governor was Pete Wilson, who served from January 91 all the way up until 1999. Yeah, and that is really when things started fucking going to hell.
Yeah.
For California. Man, California was red through my entire childhood, all the way until 2 years before I graduated.
That's when it was amazing.
And it was spectacular. It was so awesome growing up here. Like, it really was. Just with all the places that we could just go, like by foot, like before any of us could drive, just how beautiful everything is. Like, I've been hiking forever, but we used to like go places and, get stoned and shit. But the point remains, it was beautiful places, and it's just everywhere. And the weather's phenomenal almost the entire year. And yeah, it was like, yeah, you can't like do anything anymore. You'll get messed with by the cops. And I'm not even talking about illegal stuff. There's just over regulation on absolutely everything. I should read some of the chat here. I Am Jungle says Reagan. Nope. It was Pete Wilson, apparently, from 91 to 99. So
that's what. And then
Raven, nice to see you.
It was Gray. It was Gray Davis after him, right?
I think he was a Democrat.
Yeah, Gray Davis was. Yes, he was horrible, and he got recalled for all the rolling blackouts in California when you guys had all the problems with your infrastructure, and they recalled him.
We did have those.
Because he was messing everything up.
We used to go up to the foothills in South San Jose and watch the fireworks on the 4th of July. And I remember it was crazy because you could see the whole city of San Jose, and you'd see just entire sections go off, like entire blocks of houses. Just power would shut down, and then a whole other one would light up, and then that one shut down, and then it was crazy watching. And yeah, that shit happened. Let's see. One Raven, nice to see you. You just got back on X to catch my first show. Oh, see, serendipitous. I like it. Bill the Kid says Ireland belongs to the Irish. I don't disagree. The company I work for is owned by Irish people, and I always make fun of them. I'm still mad at Ireland for bringing us U2. Mike Hoochie. Mike Hoochie. That's Mike Hoochie over on YouTube says, I'm still worried an earthquake is going to knock California into the Pacific. I'm not. I don't worry about earthquakes. I don't know why. I probably should more, but I've been through the 89 quake, and it's like, I don't know. I'm just not scared of earthquakes anymore. Again, from Mike Hoochie, global warming one again. Mike Hoochie, AOC and Bernie Sanders are going to AOC and Bernie Sanders are going to fix this in 2028. Yeah, right. Yeah, I think it's my network. Northside says you're good on their end. Pete Grabber, he's good on my end. Yeah, it's me. It's my network. This thing sucks.
No, you've been perfect this whole show, man. There hasn't really been.
You've been perfect this whole show. You're perfect.
I'll give you a real ID
Casey
star.
Martin. Oh, yeah. I wonder if I can just. No, I'm not even going to make. I'm not going to talk about making a fake real ID. Proposition 187 passed the 60-40 back in 1994, and the anti-illegal alien proposition, illegal immigrant is losing issue, even California. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Pete Wilson, Prop 87. All right. I Am the Jungle. Ronald Reagan was the best governor of California. It's debatable because there is the whole, and people say it wasn't Reagan. It was just Reagan went along with the Democrats to appease them. But we shut down all the sanitariums under Reagan. And I'm not 100% saying that was Reagan's fault, but it did happen under Reagan. And look at the homelessness and mental health crisis that we're having in California now. It is off the freaking charts, And then that's like a perfect segue to this this video from JJ Smith. Here, I want to show this really quick. All right. So we no longer have sanitariums in California, and as everybody knows, we have a crazy homeless crisis. There's a fentanyl crisis. Drug dealers are allowed to operate with impunity. They hand out fentanyl needles. Like, people still, I talk about this every episode because people still are unaware that this actually happens, that there's non-governmental organizations that get taxpayer money from the state and the city of San Francisco, and they'll drive around in like ice cream truck vans, and they'll drive over to the Tenderloin in the shittiest neighborhoods, and they'll set up tables where they have boxes full of crack pipes, boxes full of syringes, boxes full of like the things to tie your arm with.
What are they called? Harm reduction? They're, what are they called?
They call it harm reduction. Yeah, they call it harm reduction. It's absolutely freaking insane. And here's one of the harm reduction workers. This video is from JJ Smith. And what's crazy is he was handing out like needles and crack pipes and shit. Well, it looks like he got into the fentanyl himself because he died. He just OD'd. So let's go to this video from JJ Smith. And there's something about this that that you should notice. Listen to what JJ says in the video, what he asks him, and then listen to what listen to his response. But here, before I say it, he says this is a video from April 23rd, 2023. So this is from 2 years ago. He says, this gentleman that's distributing harm reduction suicide kits just passed away this week, most likely from using the same tools that he's distributing. Rest in peace. So watch this video and listen to what JJ says to him really quick.
You want the nasal or the nasal? Yeah, yeah. Hey, do y'all got any pamphlets I can pass out to anybody? Like if they say they want treatment or rehab or something?
I don't know if we have any on us. Not on us.
So you hear that? So they're handing out crack pipes and fentanyl needles, and he's like, hey, do you guys have any pamphlets or information on how people could go to rehab or get treatment because they actually want to stop using drugs? And he's like, nope, all we got's the shit to help them keep using the drugs because we're harm reduction. Like, do you see how ass to that? Backwards? Yeah, please.
Can I add something? All right. This kind of ties in with veterans issues as well, because a lot of veterans are they have issues, and they a lot of veterans turn to drugs, and then you have the whole 22 a day. What's easier? And this is a question to you. This is a question to everybody listening.
Is that suicides?
That's suicides. 22 days for veterans. 22 a day.
Is that right? There's 22 veterans
22 a day. That is the average of 22 a day. So my question to you, and I'll pose this question to you, and we can discuss it. It's with the homeless crisis there, with the drug use and everything, and who knows what the death toll is. That would be an interesting take on to add to this conversation. But what is easier, to let the problem take care of itself, essentially wipe itself out, or actually fix the problem at the root cause? So to me, them saying, oh, well, we don't really have pamphlets to help these people if they want to stop and really want to get their life in order, they're essentially letting people take care of their own problem. They're letting the problem itself. Do you see my point that I'm trying to make? It's just like veterans. They say, oh, we want to help the veteran, but they make it so hard for the veteran to actually get help that there's 22 suicides a day. So which one's easier? To pay all these bills and help these people actually get back on their feet and actually have to spend money on these people and invest in them? Or is it easier to just let them kill themselves? And I think that's where these harm reduction kits really are. They're not really harm reduction. They're actually wanting people to continue on in their habits, because essentially, if you get someone clean and healthy, you're going to have to invest money in them. Now, if you give an addict, fentanyl and all these harm reduction kits, they're going to take care of themselves within 6, 8, maybe a year. You know what I mean?
I think there's a lot more dynamics at play than that, because there's these non-governmental organizations are getting rich off of the problem. So,
that's
non-governmental organizations.
too, yeah.
Well, so these organizations that are there to reduce harm, their whole existence the whole reason for these non-governmental organizations to exist is to solve the problem of addiction and homelessness. If they solve the problem, there's no longer a reason for them to exist. So why would they solve the problem? It's really that simple. It's like the whole cure to cancer idea, like you could have a pharmaceutical company could have a treatment for different types of cancers that'll dull the pain or, dull the symptoms or whatever, but they got a customer for life, or for however long they last. If they cure them, that's a one-time fee, and then they never have to pay for it again.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You have to invest.
And I'm not saying
they would have to invest in that
for
person.
sure. But
California damn sure doesn't want to help these people, because then they would actually have to invest into their people that live there, and have to actually invest into these homeless, and actually, because you've talked about it several times, how it's not that they can't build houses, how it's not that they don't have beds for these people. They would actually have to stop funneling the money into Gavin Newsom's pocket and actually fix the problem. But I think you have a great point too. Fixing the problem is bad for business for them, because they won't get the money that they'll get, and California doesn't actually have to spend all this money that they're taking in. They can actually just pocket it and let the nonprofits make the money off of these harm reduction, and it's a symbiotic relationship. And there's always a new addict coming up. Instead of fighting it at the root cause, they're just letting it take care of itself. That doesn't really matter, in my opinion. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you didn't. No, this is a conversation. No, this is how it goes. No, 100%. But there's even more aspects behind it, because then you've got the drug dealers that are just allowed to operate with impunity on the corners, right? And if you ask anybody from San Francisco that knows anything about the fentanyl crisis there, they'll tell you, yeah, these are the Hondos. These are the illegal immigrants from Honduras that are dealing these drugs, that are allowed to just deal the drugs, and they don't get arrested. And if they do, it's just catch and release with these guys. And then you've got the notorious video that I'm sure you've seen me play from Chesa Badin, the former district attorney of San Francisco, where he says, yeah, we know it's the illegal immigrants from Honduras that are dealing the drugs on the corner, and cut off the money supply that they're sending back to the cartels in Honduras, then they're going to go after their families, and it's dangerous. So we kind of just have to let them keep doing it. So I truly believe that the California government is in bed with the cartels, and there's this giant circular thing going on where, the drug cartels are allowed to operate. And then, because we're getting money on the back end, or, because the non-governmental organizations get a bunch of money from the taxpayers, they make profits. They take some of those profits and they put them back into the campaigns of the very people that are advocating for these harm reduction groups to exist. And it's this whole circular thing. Everybody's greasing each other's wheels. Meanwhile, people are fucking dying on the streets, like literally.
Well, they're playing with people's lives, and that's exactly what it is. They don't care. They're just they lose the fact that these people are dying in droves on the streets, and it's tearing apart these once beautiful cities. I mean, my God, San Francisco used to be just gorgeous, and now it's just torn up.
Chat, is his audio breaking up for you guys?
Oh, did we lose Michael? Uh-oh. Well, I think we lost Michael. Let me try to get him back. Uh-oh. Yep. We lost Michael. Sorry about this, guys. Give me a second. Well, guys, I don't know. Nope, he's back. We lost you for a second.
Are we
You're
still
back.
going?
Yeah, we're still going. We're still going.
Bro,
I
you
was-
got super like your audio is super choppy on my end. My network sucks, dude.
It was definitely your end, but yeah,
Yeah,
North Side. It was also Mossad. He said your internet got him, and also Mossad got you.
I got to figure something out for Saturday. So you guys that are still watching, we're doing a debate on Saturday between a gentleman named Cam Higsby. Is it Cam Higsby?
Cam Higbee.
Cam Higbee, who you may have seen on Timcast last week, and with Phil Turney, survivor of the USS Liberty, who I've had on this show, who you may remember from Candace Owens' episode, which was like one of her biggest episodes. And from my understanding, I don't know of any debates between the Zionist side and the survivor of the USS Liberty side in terms of was the attack intentional or not. This isn't a debate on whether it happened or not. Everybody knows it happened, but was it intentional? That's what this debate is going to be about. So it's going to be interesting because I haven't seen any arguments really on the other side. I see a lot of like Charlie Kirk gets really uncomfortable when you ask him about it, and they just say it's a conspiracy theory. And I'm completely open to having my mind changed. Maybe there's some information that Cam Higbee has that I'm unaware of, and maybe it was a big giant accident. I have my views towards it. I'm going to try to be completely impartial, which might be difficult, but I am not going to interject. I'm not going to frame questions in a way that's trying to paint anybody into a corner. So, but that's going to happen Saturday is it 4:00 that I'm doing it?
Yeah, I believe either 2 or 4, whatever I got to go back and look at it.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting. I need to get my internet situation squared away before
It's been
then.
great all night, dude. We've been going for almost an hour and 20 minutes. It was great until that last little bit.
Your audio, like you'll be talking and I just like all of a sudden you'll start, it's the digital sounding audio when it's like breaking up.
But that's just on your end. Everybody else said it's been fine. It's
Right,
been great.
but if I can't hear what the other person's saying, it's not good. So
It's been good though, man. You've been perfect. No, that whole thing on Saturday will be interesting. I'm sure that Cam will bring up a lot of AJ Cristobal's report and probably the 7-day court of inquiry, the Navy court of inquiry that was completed in 7 days. That was written by Ward Boston, and I know that Phil has his. Obviously, I know that Phil has his own evidence to bring forward.
yeah, I mean, this is going to be interesting for sure because this is Phil's life. Like his life is around this, and he's got his opinions, and hopefully he can not get too fiery because we know how Phil can get. So hopefully
Phil
they
can
keep
get
it
a little
cordial.
fiery. He will. It'll be a good debate. I'm looking forward to it. I hope that everybody in the chats joins in. I hope they share it with everyone. I think this is a very important debate that a lot of Americans should hear because a lot of Americans are both on the side. I hope we can all come together in the middle and find a common ground and understand where each other stands. And it's patriots coming together to sort out our differences and become one as patriots. Because Cam Higbee doesn't seem too much of a non-patriot. It really seems that he cares for this country, and this just looks like this is just a conversation between him and Phil to come together as patriots and say, "Hey, this is what this is." So,
yeah, I'm hoping it's that. We're gonna see. It is an interesting time, especially coming directly after what's his name?
Dave Smith,
Murphy, Douglas Murphy, and Dave
Murphy.
Smith. Yeah. Have you ever been to Israel?
I have twice.
Damn it! You just ruined my joke. I was going to say, you've never been.
Yeah, I have twice. I was in the military.
Ruined it.
Yeah,
Well,
sorry.
shit. You just ruined my Douglas Murphy impression. So,
You
never been.
That's a pretty good impression, though.
He was so funny. Oh, that whole thing was infuriating. Just they didn't even get to like anything.
I watched about
the whole
10
thing.
minutes of it, and it was like, I can't do this. No,
I
one
watched the whole
wins.
thing. I got like 45 minutes into it. I was like, "Are you guys going to actually talk about the freaking issue?" It was so frustrating. But
No.
yeah. Well, all right, dude. We've already gone over like by 20 minutes. So yeah, I mean, I guess I'll call this test stream a success. I don't know. I don't trust this network, but we're gonna see.
It's going well. Everybody in the chat.
How it goes.
Tell Michael how it was.
So I plan to do. Oh, sorry, you're talking, but it's like choppy again. Uh-oh, I lost you for a second. You're frozen on my end. Damn it.
It's
No,
been great. I mean,
you're frozen again. Oh,
no,
there you are.
you've been good, man. It's been good. I'm glad I got to do this with you tonight. It's kind of an impromptu. I didn't know what we were going to talk about, so it was kind of a.
Well, you and I could talk for hours. Sorry, I don't know if I interrupted you again. You froze up.
No, you're good. I'm good.
Yeah, I do want to do regular streams again, but I haven't decided on what night that I want to do them on. Saturday night's kind of actually making sense because I like to watch Matt Christensen's show live on Sunday nights and like join in the chat sometimes. So I want to do 2 a week, but the one during the week is even harder. So I was wondering if you might be available for 1 day a week during the week sometime. Probably either on a Monday or a Tuesday. So I would do like a Saturday night show where, I just talk about all the different things and then have like you as my co-host or something like that on one of the days. Think about it. We'll talk about it off air. But
yeah, I would love to.
Yeah. Well, don't let me put you on the spot right now with all.
I already said yes
14
before
people
once we talked about it before.
All right. Well, we'll figure it out then. All right, everybody, thank you so much for hanging out. Casey Martin, Northside, Pete Grabber, freaking Mike Ucci, Billy the Kid, One Raven, Wally World, Terry Wallace. Always good to see everybody. It's nice. You got a lot of people back that used to watch the show a lot, so I'm stoked to be here. So. All right. Yeah, give the show a like if you can, reshare it, post it, subscribe on YouTube and Rumble, all that good stuff. And where can people find you, John? And
well, I have a show, the RGS on Rumble. Like I said, my podcast partner can't really do it anymore because of obligations, but you can find me on the X with the __ RGS, just like it says in my name. I think I missed the the _ RGS. So that's where my handle is. You can find me there, and hopefully here with Michael again.
Oh, we'll be back, baby. All right, folks. That's all I got for tonight. Thank you so much for hanging out. Oh shit. Bro,
what are you doing, man? You missed the Chuck Norris joke.
I don't have the book up here. It's in a box somewhere. All right, you know what? I'll tell the one that I have memorized. All right. Well, I have a couple memorized, so I'll just do. Okay, so Chuck Norris joke of the evening. So, which one should I do? I've probably told this one already, but I'll just do it again. So, okay, Chuck Norris joke of the evening. Chuck Norris's dick is so big that his dick has its own dick. And Chuck Norris's dick's dick is bigger than your dick. All right. And on that note, stay CaliBased.